As we're set to approach the mid-season finale of the show, it seemed as though this slightly slower tempoed episode, which focused predominantly on the Yellowstone ranch, took the show back to its roots and provided a sense of familiarity and showed everybody on board why they do what they do and what's at the heart of John Dutton. With the impending threat still lurking in the background, like last week, there wasn't that much of a focus on it, but the main thing was it's still there. So for now, let's recap, break down, and explain all that there was to take away from this episode. So let's get into it. Here is Yellowstone Season 5 Episode 6, Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. After the group set off at the end of last week's episode to go on their gathering in order to get the cattle to bring them back for the branding, we predominantly spent our time within the Yellowstone ranch as all of the main characters were there, other than Jamie and Sarah, who weren't involved at all, as they were dealing with their own business and were caught up with each other. For the first time in a long while, many of them were out in nature, somewhere that they hadn't been for a long while due to the new positions that they'd taken up in order to remove the threat of having the ranch compromised. This was related to John and Beth specifically, and we saw it impact them in different ways. I'm going to break this video down by the main character arcs. John Dutton. John went back to his roots in this episode and was out gathering cattle to prepare them for the branding that was occurring back closer to home. He was living the life of a cowboy, something that he was and something that he will always be, despite having this new role that ultimately meant that he had to spend more time away. With the death of Emmett occurring, it was a reminder to John of the true life of a cowboy that one dreams of experiencing, and something that may be drifting further away from him. With it not really feeling as though John Dutton is actually doing any work in his role as governor, it does make me question if there will come a time where the people of Montana will start to wonder if things are going to change, or if plans are actually in motion. We know John mainly went for the role so he'd be able to wipe out Market Equity's plans, but with it looking like an attempted impeachment is on the cards, he's going to have to think fast and do more if he wants to keep the opinion of the public on his side. With him controversially releasing Summer from jail, I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a romance blossom between the pair. Summer is being relatively difficult with John at the moment, but I feel with us actually getting some one-on-one time with Summer during this episode, we got to see a more human side to the character. One that's toying with her moral compass and finding what she believes in when it comes to the Yellowstone ranch. I'm intrigued to see which side she takes and what that means for John in the future. Beth. This was the calmest that we'd seen Beth throughout the entirety of the show so far. With her normally spiraling out of control, we saw her be calm, composed, relaxed, and envisage her dream for the first time in a long while. Beth loves the ranch just as much as her father does, and she has it running within her blood. This episode showed us that extremely well. Whilst she's an extremely formidable force out there in the political field and the business world when it comes to standing by her father, she herself would much rather have a house overlooking a meadow and a river, allowing her to have inner peace, something we never see the character have. She likes to appreciate things that nobody else can, which means things that are precious and only for her. We got to see Beth have some intimate time with Rip and actually add value to their conversations, rather than seeing them yelling at each other, dancing together, or merely saying good morning. We saw the feelings that they had, the spark that was still alive, and the passion that they have for each other that comes with the lives that they share. It was one of my more favourable inclusions of Beth this season, because every line that she spoke held value and tied into the core of the character. Jamie. Jamie took an extreme backseat in this episode, just like we saw in the last one, but I believe his time is definitely coming. This time round, his screen time was minimal, but despite it being low, it was something that held great importance. We saw that following his previous two encounters with Sarah, this seems to be something that's going to continue. Sarah admitted that she actually started to care for Jamie. She mentioned how she was originally only spending time with him as part of her plan to get him to turn on John, but she appeared to now have said otherwise. I don't think that's actually the case. She picked him out the moment that she laid eyes on him to be the weak link in the family, and I believe she still thinks that. She's going to use him to turn on his father and then leave him out to dry, and leave him truly left with nobody. John doesn't refer to him as a son anymore. Beth despises him, and the only person that's present in his life at the moment is Sarah, so it's going to be interesting when this does happen. It looks as though they're going to try and get Jamie to take the spot of Governor of Montana, but this would be before John would have completed his term in office. As Sarah said, 4 years is too long to wait, so it seems as though they're going to try and get him impeached, which would then mean that Jamie would run. This in turn would give Market Equities the right to build on the land due to Jamie promising to reinstate the lease if that were all to happen. It's most definitely going to be the wrong move for Jamie, but I most certainly feel as though he's going to take it. Thomas Rainwater. Rainwater is facing an ongoing threat for the rivalry of his power with Angela Thunder and the rest of the council undermining his ability and capability of being chairman. Based on some of his decisions in recent times, such as endorsing John Dutton when he was running for governor of Montana, he's appeared to have lost some support amongst the community that he strives to represent. We saw that decisions were being made without his sign-off, and one even included a visit from the president. I feel he's going to be somebody who in the near future is going to have to turn once again on Dutton if he wants to hold on to the power that he's slowly losing grasp of. I thought that this episode was okay. It took the show back to its roots and showed off the beautiful scenery that the show has to offer, whilst tying into the reasoning behind why the Duttons care so much about the ranch that has been in their family for so long. Whilst the general population of Montana appeared to be happy with the way that John is managing the state at the moment, the interest and intent behind his motives was something that was questioned by the news reporter, and something that I think will become more of a focus in the final episode before the mid-season finale, and then also when the show picks up again in the new year. Deceitfulness is going to occur as Jamie looks as though he's set to turn on the closest thing that he has to a father, even though John has stopped viewing him as a son. But regardless, Jamie is going to do all that he can to remove him from power, which in turn will also remove the ranch and the very thing that the Dutton family care about most in this world. I did originally feel as though Beth's out of control behaviour was going to see her getting killed off during this season, but there's a strong part of me that feels it could now be Jamie, due to the fact that it's going to be him versus everybody else basically. Either that or he'll be the person that causes Beth to meet her fate, because she'll be after him and he'll then have to live with the consequences. Beth still has that hold over Jamie due to the photo that she has, so I'm intrigued to see where that's going to come into play. The season is most certainly developing and I'm interested to see where it's going to go, especially seeing as though we've only got one episode left before the mid-season finale. So, there you have it. Yellowstone Season 5 Episode 6 Ending Explained. If you want to see more videos such as Endings Explained, theories and predictions and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review next, then head over to my Twitter @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What did you think of this episode? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.